This is the bot setup, and it's based on the principles that markets never move in a straight line. They always have to have an initial move, then a consolidation, and then a subsequent follow-through move. It's just the way markets operate. A, B, C, D. If we go down to the 4-hour chart, so as I said, Algo's, the Algo I think actually was pretty accurate. This thing measures sort of broader market strength and weakness, not really setups on Bitcoin itself. And really, I wanted to just test drive this and take every single signal that it gave and just see, what is the end result at the end of the year. So it had me buying there, and I just bought. The Algo says buy, so get in there and buy. We had to go through a chop period here, and interesting enough, through that period, the broader crypto universe had to try and bottom as well. Then when both of these darn things bottomed, of course, then we're into orgy mode. So that's like March 10th right there, and you can see the cute little double bottom on the universe came in March 11th. So all around there, we are fully into rally mode. So where the hell's that? So that's, ironically enough, there's 10th, there's 11th. So broader market saying go. Of course, I covered my manual shorts. I shorted this consolidation here. I shorted that railroad tracks. Covered into here. That was pretty damn lucky. I was thinking we were going to head lower. But all of a sudden, in comes this W. And like I said, we actually had some people on the site, lower time frames, going, get in there and buy. Algo was like, phew, okay, now I don't look so stupid here. Huge run up. Markets almost never move in just one straight line. Never, never, never. I've been at this game 30 bloody years. Notice on the way down, it wasn't just one straight move down to the level. It was one move to sort of like halfway, and then a consolidation, and then a second move down to the objectives. Boom, 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 boom. Initial move, consolidation, secondary move. This is the way markets move. It just is. I always say markets never move in a straight line. Never, ever, ever. It's always a zigzag pattern. This is the bot setup, and it's based on the principles that markets never move in a straight line. They always have to have an initial move, then a consolidation, and then a subsequent follow-through move. It's just the way markets operate. A, B, C, D. There are harmonic people that hunt this end point up here for a trade location unto itself. It's called a PRZ, or potential reversal zone. Sometimes these ABCDs, there's so much inertia and so much energy built up in here that actually it shoots beyond the 100%. But if you can just try and think of this in the simplest terms, markets love to move in an ABCD pattern. And this setup that you see on the screen, the 66, 33, 0, 100, and then replicating that, just like I did with the actual ABCD movement, you can break this movement into quarters, and really this is a trade setup that anybody can do. You see how simple it is. It's just replicating this range, then plugging in 25, 50, 66, and 100%. You're going to try and look for your reasons to get long, and in this particular case, this is actually a very beautiful inverted head and shoulders. Left shoulder, neckline, head, back to the neckline, shoulder, breakout. Could I say that I have 3 higher lows to work with? Interestingly enough, that's sort of the criteria that I need to see to justify taking this bot trade setup. If we drill down to, this is a 4-hour chart, but if you drill down to like an hourly chart, this is a beautiful W, like W after W after W through here. So I think you can make the argument that you had a half-decent entry. The bot itself would want you long from 25. In this case, this is what I would call front-running the bot. We're actually going to take this head and shoulders, and if the bot level comes in and fires, then you're like, woohoo, right on. We move our stop to scratch at 50% of the anticipated move. We can actually start locking in profits at 2/3 of the anticipated move. And maybe through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as a follow-up, maybe we'll track how this does. And ultimately, this setup, and this is just basically working off of the premise that markets move in this ABCD pattern, this market's actually suggesting it wants to get up into this $31,000 area. And as I had sort of pointed out off of the weekly and the daily charts, there's plenty of reason for the market to move up here. So it could be something along the lines of buy the rumor, sell the news. The market is setting up itself for a top off of the market structure, that megaphone top pattern off of the top here. Interestingly enough, for those people who are volume profile fans, if we just look at this particular price range, this, just the profile itself, you can see is, it ideally wants to look like a parabola. Oops. We can, let's see if I can do this for you without losing my head. We can draw a nice little parabola off here. We know where the point of control, or the POC is. We're just going to put the parabola's middle right over the POC. And that tells you, just looking at this simple range, do you see how the market, the profile's kind of empty up here? We could really use some action because the profile wants to look like a parabola ultimately. This also suggests too that, once we do explore up into the top of value, well, actually we are well above value, but the top of the potential parabola, if we do get any signs of rejection, remember we have that megaphone top level up here, maybe this turns into some sort of crazy head and shoulders top like that. That could very easily be the case. And we won't get into predicting how the top's going to look like. I think if anything, you probably just want to let this play itself out. If you were fortunate enough to get long off of this consolidation zone, I think it's probably a good idea to ring the register a little bit up top here. As I said, this can go 127s. Hell, it can go up to 1.618s and still technically be valid harmonic. You can see she's got a head of steam behind her. Here's another really cool tip. This is a bigger formation that's already underway. You can't really take buy here and say, well, I'm trading this bullish bot and the target's 31,000 and my entry's 25,000. Well, no, it isn't. Your entry's 28,000 now, so that doesn't quite work. Obviously now is a little bit difficult to come in on the long side here now. How would I approach this if I really wanted to try and get long? And I think the simple answer here for you guys is, hopefully you noticed that there was a bit of a consolidation in here. This consolidation itself might have set up an entry for you. But I think that looks something along these lines. This is your hourly chart. The reason why I didn't take this setup, because it's so perfect. One low, two lows, three lows, beautiful double bottom. Another good example of front running that bot. But we didn't do a 33% retracement here. So that was the only reason why I didn't hop in on this. I suppose you could argue that we could have maybe even just drawn it off of there. So then that would have actually given you a setup along these lines. And that's going to paint off the lower time frames, targets up into that 30,000 area. And that's a way that had you missed the original entry, which was down here, and it was just such a killer level, how would I use this bot setup that I've learned to trade with TRI? How would I use that to get in on a move that's already well underway? The answer is, drill down to lower time frames, hunt for these consolidations, and you can see how the levels set themselves up.